Is your job considered socially acceptable? You're not reduced to your profession when they report your brutal murder in the news, right? People don't say that you had it coming, that you were asking for it when you entered your job. Well, if you answered yes, that means you aren't a sex worker. Legalizing prostitution would be beneficial to the government and sex workers by improving the current state of prostitution in the United States. We will cut down on other related social problems such as sexually transmitted diseases, violent crimes, and overcrowding of jails. The United States of America should legalize prostitution. The key points I would like to discuss are the current state of prostitution, the problems associated with the status quo, and some possible solutions. Firstly, let's touch base on where we are today. Touching on the current state of prostitution, as of today, prostitution is illegal in 49 out of the 50 states. Nevada is the only state where prostitution is legal, only under certain terms. It is legal in the counties with less than 700,000 people in it. So that leaves out Las Vegas, Reno, and the capital of Nevada, of course. It is highly regulated within each county and is banned from leaving the brothel's boundaries. So there is no one on the streets, and it is protected inside the buildings, and there are no risk of abduction or injuries from forced sex. Which leads me to this note. Prostitution is one of the most dangerous professions in the country. According to legalresources.com, the average prostitute gets physically attacked approximately once a month. One reason for these numbers is that prostitution is illegal in every state. Even Nevada, where it is only allowed in brothels in certain parts of the state, when prostitutes face violence, they have nowhere to turn without being arrested themselves. Consequently, prostitutes are an easy target and even serve as the butt of jokes about violence and murder on TV shows and movies. In fact, in the United States, prostitutes get busted more often than Johns or pimps by a huge margin. And now that I've stated current state of prostitution, I would next like to discuss what prostitution actually is and the main concerns you might have. So what exactly is prostitution? Many people are concerned with the fact that legalizing prostitution is openings for more human trafficking. And it is the same in similar type of act. It is not. Prostitution is only a transaction, the act of engaging in sexual activities in the exchange for money. A business transaction between the sex worker and client, one that is considered illegal here in America and saved for the brothels in Nevada. Human trafficking, on the other hand, is an organized crime where human beings of all ages are sold off as they were property into sex slavery and or forced labor. So what is the difference then? Someone is still selling someone's body even if it's not their own. Choice and consent. A sex worker's consent to the business transaction while the human trafficking victim is the business transaction. Also, a sex worker can choose to stop being a sex worker. The human trafficking victim, however, didn't choose to become the victim of an organized crime, and they aren't given the choice to stop being one either. Moving on to my final point is actually legalizing. Legalization of the former is better than its decriminalization. Talking about criminalization versus decriminalization, making certain activities illegal does not stop them from happening. Prostitution is illegal in all but one of the states, and because it is illegal, anybody caught participating in it will be held accountable by law. And more often than not, they are the sex workers themselves. According to the Orange County Register, between 2003 and 2013, Orange County law enforcement agencies reported over 10,500 prostitutes arrests. 64% involved women. That's over 6,700 women arrested in the span of a decade. A study done on 1998 in San Francisco reported 82% of prostitutes were assaulted, while almost 70% of them were raped. Most of these attacks go unreported to the proper authorities in fear of being arrested for engaging in illegal activities. That doesn't include males who are also victims of these crimes. Taxations and regulations is what will make this successful. Just look at Nevada. According to the New York Times article written by Steve Fress on January 26, 2009, Nevada brothels were willing to pay taxes to the state. A $50 million industry is willing to pay taxes. And that isn't a joke or any kind of bluff. They want to pay taxes, and not many multi-million-dollar industries want to pay taxes. Also a mention to a study conducted on Miami, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Denver, Kansas City, San Diego, Atlanta, and Seattle in 2014 reported that prostitution ranked in $40 to $290 million, and that adds up to so much tax money that could be beneficial to the poor and underprivileged. Not to mention, it could be beneficial to buildings and roads and anything else that needs help. More importantly, legalization allows for regulation and protection. In Nevada, prostitutes are required to undergo monthly tests for syphilis and HIV, and not to mention practices safe sex in the brothels. In the unlikely event that sex workers were violated in Nevada, a study conducted by Barbara Brentz and Catherine Husbeck from the University of Nevada in 2005 reported that the brothel had their backs because they want to keep their licenses. Also, by regulating the practice of prostitution, we can ensure the welfare and health of the sex workers. To conclude my speech, I would like to review my points. The United States should legalize prostitution. After discussing what prostitution is, how it can be beneficial to legalize, and the current state of it in the United States, I hope I have convinced you to consider legalizing it. Prostitution is considered immoral because as a society, we consider sex outside of marriage immoral. Not only that, but it is confused with other immoral things in our society. And I think it is about time we give men and women the agency to decide for themselves what to do with their bodies and to be protected.